On Friday, someone finally won the lottery, the Mega Million jackpot lottery. It was worth about 1.28 billion. Yup, with a capital B, dollars. Talk about life-changing and altering money. The odds of actually winning the lottery is 1 in 330 million. Not great, but someone was going to win it eventually, and it happened. Congratulations to whoever that was. And if for some reason you are either watching this YouTube channel or you're listening to this podcast, I have one request from you. Can I hold 100? I'm just kidding. But the lottery got me thinking about dreams and how little of it we actually do. You see, the lottery isn't about you actually winning the lottery. Rather, it is your opportunity to purchase the ability to dream for a moment in time. It frees your mind to wonder and think about what you want your life to actually look like and what you actually want to live like. But even more than dreaming, it actually forces us to do something we don't do very much in our society today, which is to think. And I don't mean just kind of think, I mean really think. With the number of distractions we have on a daily basis, whether it's from our phones, whether it's from people around us, whether it's in traffic, wherever we are, there's all kind of things drawing our attention at all points in time. We never get the chance to actually sit and pontificate about life. Not necessarily always to solve a problem, but just to let our minds wander and to build random connections. I'm kind of lucky. Because I write this blog and because I create videos and create content, I'm forced to do a lot of thinking all the time. It helps me tremendously. This has helped me to process through things a little bit easier and make bigger subjects not too big a deal. I love this quote from Blaise Pascal. He said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." And the only thing I think is missing from this quote is sit quietly in a room and think. Thinking in our society has been so demonized that you regularly hear statements like, "It's not that deep. You're overthinking it." Now, there are times we tend to overdo things. I mean, my whole life is one of overprocessing. I overthink a lot of things and overanalyze a lot of things. However, when the level of thought is almost zero, and most of the time it's closer to an impulse and instinct rather than actual reason, I'm sure we can do a fair bit more overthinking for each and every single one of us. The lottery gives us a momentary reprieve to do some of that thinking. So let's do some of that right now. Let's do some thinking and some dreaming right now with one simple question. What would you do if you won the lottery? Part of the thinking you immediately have to do when you're pondering this question is, what is of value to me? What are the things that I find to be the most important things in my life? What are the things that I want to be doing on a regular basis? This question is very important because even outside of winning the lottery, it should be asked on a regular basis. This is your guiding light. This is your North Star. This is what gets you focused on living rather than living by default. Rather than just being alive, you can actually start living, moving towards a purpose that you have chosen for yourself. At work, we played a game one time where it was like an icebreaker and everybody had to go around and say what they would like to do with $10 million. This question was hard for some because it seemed crazy and way out there, and it's something that most people never really think about. But also why most people were hesitant to even answer the question in the first place is because when we answer this question, it tends to reveal a little piece of what we value the most. For me, it was a simple layup. Because I have neither of these inhibitions. One, I've come to accept the fact that I'm weird. So I really do not care that much what people think. I'm very open with how I think about some things. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm a diarrhea of the mouth kind of guy, but generally, I stand by what I stand by. On the other hand, I've thought about this question a lot. As a finance head, I regularly think about what if one of my investments explodes? What would I do with the money? And so, let me ask you that question. What would you do if you won the lottery? Embrace your weirdness. Embrace the things that you value the most. It makes you stand out more than anything else. This is what I would do if I won the lottery. The first thing that I would do is very simple. I would hire a fiduciary financial advisor. Why? Not because I don't understand how to manage money, but because I don't want to be bothered with it that much. Plus, I want somebody else to be looking over my shoulder and to help me out when I have questions of things that I've never dealt with before. Think about dealing with things like trust. Think about dealing with things like taxes. It will be at a scale that I've never imagined before. And so I would need an advisor, not just to direct my investments, which is a simple portion of the whole thing, but to help me make sure I'm making the right decisions, not just for myself, but the future of my family, to ensure that this money goes way further than we can even imagine. Think about all the families that are still reaping the benefits of sacrifices that maybe their great-grandfather or their great-great-grandfather made, and now they're able to do whatever it is that they want to do because of one person. And so that's why I would hire a financial advisor, because one, I don't want to be thinking about the money all the time. I just want to be able to live life and then have to deal with things once in a while and allow somebody who's a paid professional deal with all of the other nuts and bolts of it. The second one is immediately I'm going to give a percentage of it to my churches, both the church that I have here in Atlanta and the church I have in Birmingham. Both of those are going to get a portion of that. The next is I'm going to give some to my siblings. My brother, my sister, my two sisters, my mom, my dad, all of them are going to get a little piece of that action. And then also, we're going to wipe away all the debts. Any debt that anybody got is gone. Mainly, it's going to be the student loans that my sister got from med school. But all of that, gone. We're just going to get rid of all of that. And then they're going to have a little bit of pocket change to handle whatever it is that they want to deal with as they move into the future. And then from there, we're going to invest at least 50% of this money, which is probably going to end up being a little bit more because, hey man, if you won the lottery, $1.28 billion, you take taxes out of that, it's still going to come up with like $700 billion. Yo, I will take that $700 billion and I only need to spend what? I only need probably like, 300, maybe I won't even be able to spend $10 million and the rest of it will just get invested so I can live off the dividends that pays year to year to year. And I never have to think about money ever again. But with that money, I will be able to fund my parents for them to do whatever it is that they want to do with enough money to just live the life that they want to do. I know my mom wants to set up an orphanage and all this other stuff, just to kind of fund all of that stuff. And then from there, I'll create a scholarship fund for international students, specifically focused on my alma mater, UAB. I will create a foundation that connects my mom's school in Nigeria, Living Spring, to better resource it and set it up to have connections with Ivy League colleges all over the world so students can have a better way of progressing in society, because I find education to be very interesting. I will donate to all my favorite charities, which are Project Sunshine, St. Jude's, Bible Project, Children's of Alabama and Atlanta, and also Through the Word. I will build a house in a location that me and my wife, even though I'm not married yet, but me and my wife want to live at forever. It will have a special garage. It will have all this, it will be built. So it will be very specialized and specific to the needs that we have. I will fund my creative endeavors. So being able to do this without having to worry about money at all, definitely will be doing that as well. And then finally, I will create a family office so I can keep doing this investing thing, but in a different way. Instead of me trying to invest in just large businesses, with a family office, I'll be able to get into the venture capital game, be able to become an angel investor, and be able to do things. And actually not just so I can invest, but so I can learn how businesses operate from a nuts and bolts aspect, to see the inside workings of a lot of businesses. I'll also join a lot of boards. I will invest in some businesses just so I can be on their board to understand how some of the great minds really think about life. But really, the number one thing that this money will allow me to do is just to have more time to myself, to have more time to do whatever I want to do, to have more time to hang out with my friends without having to worry about going to work or anything like that, to have time to do whatever it is. Notice on this whole list, one of the things that most people always talk about is number one thing is travel. Travel is not that important for me. And so I'm not going to bother myself with traveling. Now, will I travel? Of course, but it's not the main important thing. And so I will build a life for myself to what it looks like. Notice also that in the entire list that I gave, everything on the list that I said is stuff that I'm already doing right now. And the point that I want to share with you is you don't have to win the lottery to start living the life that you want to actually live. You don't have to have $1 billion in the bank account for you to start living life in such a way that you want to live. If you love to give, start giving. Start with $10. Start something small. If you love to create content, just start creating the content. The point is, with this exercise of thinking about what would you do with $1 million, is for you to get a little insight into what are the things that you actually value. The point of the exercise is not to spend $1 billion, but rather to figure out what it is that you value. So my main thing with this whole thing is for you to dream a little bit more and think a little bit more.